Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I am Zia Lennard from R2M Solution France, and welcome to the Energy Communities 2050 workshop. We have two parts today. The first one will be about technologies and user engagement, and the second will be about regulations and barriers. So I won't bore you by, reading out all the speakers. You'll get to know everyone as they speak. We'll start with Karine about the LocalRES project. And so come on up. After each presentation, which will be about 10 minutes, we'll do a round table for both parts. So you want to use that one? Should I turn this off? I don't know, actually.
Yes, maybe yes.
Off? Okay.
Then I can,
Actually, maybe let's leave it on to get better sound.
where are the slides?
The slides here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zia. Okay, maybe I switch this one. All right, so I have the pleasure to be the first speaker of this big workshop. I hope that you all had a very nice lunch. So I'm presenting today the LocalRES project, which is a project coordinated by Cartif. Last year I presented all our work on regulation, but this year I will focus on the digital tools that are developed by the project to support energy communities. Just a very quick word about LocalRES, so how you can guess about with the title of this workshop, we are dealing with energy communities and more specifically with renewable energy communities. The project is developing a lot of results, but today I will focus on two of our key exploitable results. First, a planning tool that aims to enable citizen participation in the planning process of renewable energy communities. And then the multi-energy virtual power plant, which has the objective to optimize in real time different energy vectors and different flexibility services that can be provided by an energy community. So it's a 5-year project. We still have more than a year to go. I won't go through the whole project consortium, which is rather large. As I said, it's the coordinator is Cartif. I will just say a few words about the demonstration site. As you can see, we have 4 demo sites and 1 fellow case. They are all located in rural areas. They are considered as energy islands. Just a few more information about these pastures, because later I will show results for the specific demo sites. It's a very small village in the Basque country in Spain. They have the district heating network, which is managed by a cooperative, and the local grid is also managed by the municipality. And it looks very pretty as well. So our tool. Before I jump to the tool, I first wanted to go through the cycle an energy community has to follow. Probably it's a very simplistic vision, and you will tell me that I missed a lot of steps, and maybe I got the wrong order as well. But well, at least it's just to position the project. So of course it all starts from the citizens, because they are at the core of an energy community. They are in the driving seat and they have to be engaged during the whole process. They also have the power, let's say. Oops, sorry, went too fast. Then they first have to decide what is the goal they are pursuing, what they want to deliver with their energy communities, and make first decisions, give flesh to their project. Then find money, that's the tricky part. Money and thanks to financing and also hopefully subsidies. Go through a phase of detailed planning when really they will decide what kind of energy assets they will deploy, and also go through a complicated permitting phase. At some point they also have to create a legal entity for their community and register it with depending on the country, with a specific agency or with the DSO. Then finally the energy assets can be deployed and installed, and then the community can operate, hopefully in an optimal way. But it's not the end. Then you have to maintain your community, make it grow, to get also new members and continue developing renewable energy assets. All right, so of course, when you go through this process, you have a lot of barriers to overcome. So it's barriers that we identified in LocalRES, but also in other projects that are member of the Bridge Initiative, because we also have a working group where we discuss energy sharing and energy communities issues. So you have first barriers related to regulation. It's my favorite topic, so I couldn't stop saying a few words about that. That you have a landscape which is changing very fast at the European level, but also in member states, with a lot of disparities between the different countries. So they have completely different approach to deploy energy sharing and energy communities. And the functional frameworks for energy sharing and or energy communities can only be found in a few countries. Related to the market, in theory, energy communities can do a lot of things, but in practice, they are not at all on a level playing field with other market actors, but hopefully this will change. Probably the most important barrier is actually the social one. We already discussed that in various workshops on citizens and consumer engagement, so I won't go into details here. Financial, as I mentioned before, community needs to find money to finance the energy asset. It's a high risk to invest into such assets, and often it's also difficult to really understand what are the available subsidies, also because it changes a lot, and also to understand what will be the potential benefits in the long term. And finally, on the technical issues, something we found out in LocalRES is that you tend to be too optimistic about what you already have in your buildings, and in the end you have to upgrade the legacy equipment because you cannot really work with smart devices, or that you have interoperability issues. So there are also technical challenges. All right, so where we position our projects. So as I said, today I focus on two tools. The first tool is supposed to support the planning phase, and the second one is supporting the operation. So let's start with the planning tool. So this tool will generate different sets of scenarios, and will compare them to help the community to make informed decision and select the scenario that's the most suited to achieve its goal. So it started actually from a tool that was already developed by a French partner. It's Artelis, and they have developed 3 new modules for the LocalRES projects that are specifically targeting energy communities. This tool, what it wants to do is also to cover a variety of potential users, so both the experts but also the non-experts. So 2 interfaces have been developed. One for the experts to have a very detailed scenariization tool, and one for the citizens, which is, let's say, more intuitive when they can provide their data about their consumption and production. So let's start with the first module, the REST-based scenario generator. Here you can see a few screenshots of the citizen interface. So they will go through several steps. I haven't detailed all of them here, but so they get really guided by the tool to provide information about their consumption, production, if any, and also about the goals that is being pursued by the community. Once they have done that, the expert will add another layer about the energy system, develop the energy, define the energy architecture, and give the characteristic of the different energy assets. And this will develop scenarios that will enable to explore different alternatives. As you can see here, it also gives additional information to citizens in case they want to know more about the planning process and how to set up a community. So that was the first module. The second one, this one, it optimizes district heating pipes and the low voltage network lines. So as an input, you have information about the costs of those networks, but also it takes into account the different scenarios that have been defined. So to really optimally dimension both networks. Finally, all this is fed into a third module, which will generate KPI to be able to compare the scenarios. So here you have the expert view. Will, for instance, give information on the supply-demand balance, the different costs of each scenario. Here it includes both operation and also annualized investment costs. And finally, you can compare scenarios according to their CO2 emission. One concrete example with East Pastures, 3 different scenarios were generated in addition to the baseline. So you can see on the right the impact of the different scenarios in terms of energy mix to be able to meet the heat demand. And then you can check for each scenario what is the impact in terms of electricity imports from the grid, but also in terms of the usage of the local gas boiler, for instance, which will of course lead to the corresponding CO2 emissions. So that was for the expert view. And then again, we have this citizen view with, let's say, more intuitive KPIs like the number of hot shower you can take and cup of coffees. So the idea is to have more intuitive KPIs that the citizen they can connect to. So then it's easier for them to compare different kind of scenarios. So that was in a nutshell for the planning tool. Sorry, I went a bit fast. But yeah, if you have questions, you can contact the partner Artelis, who is developing this. And I will then just give an overview on the multi-energy virtual power plant, because it was already presented in a paper session yesterday. And if we have questions, we actually have Ferouz from Centrica in the room, so she can talk to you afterwards. So the objective of this MEVPP is to, as I present before, to enable multi-market energy trading and optimize the dispatch of different markets and services. So it does forecast and optimization. As an input, you have to define the characteristics of different assets like PV panels, battery, heat pumps, and electric vehicle, but also to provide climatic data for the forecasting module. And as an output, so there will be a dispatch between different provided services. First, services provided to the local energy community itself in terms of energy sharing, peak shaving, different kind of services to also ensure, to increase, the resilience of the local grid, but also services for the DSO or for the TSO. It then interfaces with other services like a blackout recovery strategy with operation in islanded mode. And finally, a peer-to-peer energy trading platform, which I will also quickly mention here, because we just the development just started with a partner, Revolt. What's maybe interesting to say here is that it uses a blockchain technology to record and track the transaction between the participant to energy sharing activities, and that it's being developed as an open source library. So the objective is really to enable the reuse of this trading platform by other projects or other entity. It's not an end-to-end platform, so a user interface will have to be added, but the backend is available. It will be available as open source. Quickly, let me finish with the next step. So what's next in LocalRES? So the planning tool is still undergoing the final developments. Workshops are organized with several communities and our demo sites to get feedback. What we found out from previous co-design sessions is that it's very difficult to, of course, satisfy everybody. And they all have different interests and preference related to this tool, but the project is making its best to cover a wide coverage of different knowledge levels. And finally, the challenges we meet, as I said, the regulatory landscape is changing fast. So the planning tool, what the recommendation it delivers for us, it's difficult to say as of today if it will be feasible from a regulatory standpoint, because it's not something that has been completely embedded in the tool, and also it makes its replicability complicated because for now it's let's say, optimized for Spain, but what is valid in Spain won't be valid in France, for instance. And finally, as you all know, I assume, that if you want a very detailed study with accurate results, it means that you also need very accurate inputs. So to run such a tool and get very solid KPIs at the end, you always have to involve an expert at some point, especially to describe the energy systems. If the objective is more to support citizens to make informed decisions, then maybe other tools are more appropriate. And that's it for me. I hope I wasn't too long. Yeah, I was too long. Sorry.
Thank you, Karine. So up next we have Adelaida and Juan from University of Murcia with the Masterpiece Project. And sorry, I didn't mention Karine is from Dowel Innovation. So, do you want to use this or?
Okay,
I think this one's better, but yeah. Okay. Let me just open this up.
Okay. ¿Eh? No, este funciona. Okay, sí. So, good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. So, as Tia said, I'm Adelaida, and he is Juan from University of Murcia, and we are here to present an overview of the modular platform to cover what we call the energy community journey, okay, by Masterpiece Project. So basically, just to take a vision of what is Masterpiece Project, we are focused on creating and developing a digital modular platform with different services to support and facilitate the creation and operation of energy communities. So basically our focus is not only in technical or economical aspects, but also in the social innovation and participatory processes, behaviors, all these social behavioral dimension. So mainly the key objectives are, as I said, and as energy communities has to empower these traditional energy consumers to become them active agents in these energy communities by creating this digital platform in a user-centric solution and also user-friendly. We are developing also new strategies regarding business strategies and incentive mechanisms also to engage these individuals, and all of this is based, is covered by a cybersecurity infrastructure to protect and all this data that at the end we are managing. So to demonstrate all this, we have different real-life pilots in several countries: Spain, Turkey, Italy, France, and Sweden. So we have different legal frameworks, cultural, traditional. Also, we go from energy communities which are in the urban areas, and also more in rural ones, in a remote village. For example, is the case of Turkey. Okay. So basically, what we call the energy community journey. After several research, several meetings with our pilots, we came with this. Is always under update, okay? But basically, it's a combination of the operational and experiential behavioral pathway, okay? So we have to understand that the experiential path is the social behavioral journey, which is to show not only the personal development, but also how these people interact between the community to achieve the energy community's objectives, and to recognize the main role of each member in its process and evolution. This, together with the operational path, which is more the technical, I think more known, the management aspects, infrastructure, implementation, etc., which at the end is everything that is related with the operational viability and sustainability of the project. So this idea of the easy journey is cyclical, so we want to show that at the end, the engagement is everywhere. There is always feedback from the operational to the experiential, but also between the sub-stages of this journey. This is a deeper explanation of each of the stages, but I'm not going to go into this because at the end it takes too much time, and I can speak just with this all over the time. So, but I want just to point out that having this easy journey and breaking it down, we have like more focus in the individual to understand their behaviors, how is their evolution, their progress from what we call the user journey, which is divided also in the readiness ladder, more focus in the experience, going to the I don't know anything about energy communities to more to the, okay, I'm going to be like a mentor to these people. So also we have the maturity ladder where we have these different roles that all of these help us also in understand how to develop these, the tools, the services that form the masterpiece solution, which Juan is going to explain.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about the platform. As you know, the core of Masterpiece is create an ecosystem of IC tools. For that, we can see here in several boxes. Every box is a tool that we create, we provide to the users, and not only the user, also to the EC managers and the EC members. The key point here is that every tool designed in this project is connected to a DLT secure platform. This platform collects all the data coming from the field, and not only coming from the field, also coming from the user, social data, behavioral data, and several useful information that we can use in the different tools. And also it's important to remark that every tool stores the outputs into the platform. So we can leverage, we can share between the different tools the different outcomes and use that for creating smart services to the energy communities stakeholders. Here we can see that considering the previous EC journey that my colleague commented before, we categorize the different ICT tools in 4 groups, in 3 groups, because we want to differentiate, we want to categorize different IC tools in the different steps of the journey. We can see group number 1, more focus on the formation, the planning and design of the energy community, also the operation and management in the energy community. Also we have the group number 2, is more aligned with the pre-formation and formation phase. Also is aligned with the operational phase and the collaboration and networking inside the energy community. And the last one is the group number 3, is more focused on the operation and management phase, and also the engagement and the empowerment of the energy community. Now I'm going to proceed with the explanation of the different IC tools that we have in Masterpiece. First one is the RECOMME. RECOMME is an energy community personalized recommendation tool. This tool is transversal. It can be used in the first step of the EC journey and also in the last ones. Try to get the profile of the user, to know the actual status of the engagement, and also try to encourage them and try to foster the knowledge about energy communities, or also about sustainability mechanisms, sending properly the recommendation to the user. Also, we have the Meet app. This app is more related with the social aspect in an energy community. This app try to create and participate in group discussions, also share knowledge between the different stakeholders, and organize and promote social events and initiatives in the energy communities. But it's also transversal. It's not needed to have a created energy community. It can be also a previous stage in the creation of the energy community. We also have a COP. A COP is another tool that we have in the group number 1, as I commented before. The idea is to try to create the first step of create the energy community, aggregate some assets that we have, encourage the people to join to the energy community, and can be useful for the different stakeholders, members, managers, producers, consumers, and so on. For the second group, we have the Smart Investment Tool. It's a tool to help to the investor to optimize the different assets that he's going to have in the energy community. I am talking about how many photovoltaic devices we need, also the different capabilities of the asset that they have, and also the possibility investment that can optimize the energy demand in the community. We also have the Compass ICT tool. It's more related with the legal framework, also assessing economic and non-economic incentives, and exploring the different entry barriers for citizens, for prosumers, and the other stakeholders. And the last one is the DRFlex. This tool is more related with the operational phase of the energy community. Once the energy community is created, we need to provide different smart services to optimize the energy demand. And in this case, we consider the flexibility mechanisms, and also provide self-consumption mechanisms, because, as I commented before, we have the core of the platform is to recollect all the data coming from the field, and not only collect the data coming from the field. We also have an asset that can be actuated. For example, HVAC. In the case of the University of Murcia, we have a high-capacity actuation into the HVAC devices, so we can provide flexibility services, actuating over the HVAC, and not only actuating, also send the recommendation to the non-actuable assets. And that's all about the ICT ecosystem that we have in Masterpiece, and thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Konstantinos from Q Technologies in Greece and Miguel from MIW Energia in Spain. Sorry, presenting de-risk. Okay.
Hello, I'm Konstantinos from Q Technologies. This is my colleague Miguel from Energia. Last year in Sustainable Places, we had two separate presentations about technologies and engagement. This year we have connected these two thematics into one presentation. The RISC's main goal is to support the market uptake of renewable energy sources by fostering the adoption of demand response and LFMs, and unlock 100 gigawatts of flexibility by 2030.
Thanks, Konstantinos. Well, as also last year we did a technical and a social presentation, since as the project progresses, technological objective decisions and developments, as well as the actions to create social attraction and participation, converge into a single scenario that is the home. Additionally, the project lays the groundwork for its survival beyond the project itself, beyond the risk duration itself, And this is why we are going to briefly talk to you about this year together of technical and social aspects of the risk.
To briefly recap, last year we talked about, on the technical part, about the flexibility toolsuit designed to facilitate both implicit and explicit demand response. Our goal was to simulate and integrate these flexibility toolsuit to our pilot case studies. We have today Miguel from the Minería Spanish pilot case study, and also Iban in the crowd from La Palma pilot case study. This year we had a chance to run this flexibility toolsuit in 1 year, and we will present some results through one user, through a user's journey.
Okay, this image that we already presented in Sustainable Places last year attempts to represent in 3 concentric circles the stages we wanted the RESC project to follow in order to achieve its objectives. Above all, to promote a greater deployment of distributed energy resources thanks to demand flexibility. The pilot demonstration actions itself are reflected in the inner circle. The middle circle is key as it goes beyond the project boundaries, involving people, homes, and resources, including financial, that initially did not exist at the beginning of the RESC. This year, we are happy to announce that we have entered this second cycle. Okay, how we did it to upscale? We have the 3 ingredients that we needed for enlarging the project. A family willing to install a PV plant at home and in negotiation with their bank. Secondly, we have a community of small savers and small investors willing to fund environmental and social projects. Thirdly, we have, within the RESC, several pilots that were demonstrating how to make the most of a PV for self-consumption plant through a smart control of loads, providing flexibility capable to increase energy self-consumption and self-sufficiency. We just assembled the pieces, introduced MIW in the equation, and expanded the Murcia pilot and the project, the RESC, with new people and private funding in a crowdlending campaign. This morning, we were informed that the 100% of funds have been achieved in 2 weeks, so the crowdlending campaign ended successfully. And Konstantinos, how did we manage to integrate this new user in the pilot?
By installing IoT state-of-the-art devices, we were able to capture real-time data regarding the PV generation, the household consumption, the consumption of separate loads, also the ambient data, that's it, temperature, humidity, and occupancy. And with this data, we were able to create the digital twin of the building. A virtual replica that mirrors the home's behavior. By applying machine learning algorithms, we can accurately forecast the energy needs and optimize the energy usage, ensuring that the user has comfort. We won't go below or above their boundaries. We model the user's thermal comfort profile, defining an upper and a lower upper bound, correlating this data with occupancy, which you can see in the top left graph with green, which allow us to accurately forecast the ambient conditions and ensure energy efficiency without sacrificing any comfort. This data-driven approach allows us to predict and adjust energy consumption for loads such as HVACs, which you can see in the top left graph. And by forecasting the energy accurately, the Flex platform proposes an optimized way to consume the energy. These optimized proposition you can see in the top left chart. With the IoT devices send automatic controls, control commands, which the user can at any time bypass. We can shift the consumption, the baseline consumption into time frames where the PV, we are able to shift the consumption away from periods of shading where the PV has no generation. With these control commands, we were able to increase the self-consumption and the self-sufficiency of the user. About the conclusions?
Thank you, Konstantinos. For us, we have three main conclusions. The RES is demonstrating the ability to scale and endure, mobilizing people and investment in general resources, technological and from other type, beyond the project itself. Also that a key aspect is to design the demonstrator not as a mere technical validation, but also as a response to user hesitations about the innovation.
And we look forward to expanding these results, these insights in the years to come, and we will be glad if we can discuss further about it in the roundtable, which we also invite Iban from the La Palma pilot site to participate if he wants. Thank you very much.
I want to mention that D-Risk said something in last year's Sustainable Places that I'll never forget. They said that their project officer encouraged the reuse of results from other energy community projects. And I was really impressed by that because that's why we're here today, is to, you know, kind of leverage each other's work to one common goal. So thank you. Up next, we have Adrian from Bamboo Energy in Spain presenting RESCHOOL.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Oh. Okay. So yeah, hello everyone. My name is Adrian or Adrian, how you want to call, and I'm from Bamboo Energy. I will explain later what it is. But yeah, basically, we are a leader in a world package in RESCHOOL project, which is basically strategies and tools for the management of flexibility in the energy communities with distributed resources in 4 different pilots that I will explain now. So mainly I'm going to explain like an introduction, concept and the consumption, and then, well, I'm going to explain a bit the sites and what is the architecture about. Mainly I'm going to focus on how does it work for each pilot. And then, well, the technological results. So, well, I mean, RESCHOOL at the end is like an European project, so about energy communities. So the aim is like to develop tools to motivate and captivate the community members through gamification, and in this case, active demand management. The main project scope is to manage different energy communities within 4 different pilot areas, which are Spain, Netherlands, Sweden, and Greece. And in this case, Bamboo Energy is the main platform for the energy flexibility provider. In this case, we are a software platform that we provide an EMS. So we are the leader in the active community energy management, and the goal in this case is to facilitate the intra or implicit flexibility energy exchange in order to maximize consumption and, maximize consumption from local generation and participating, in this case, ancillary services that we are going to do in Sweden, and that's it. And the local energy markets will be in, I will explain later, but it will be in Amsterdam. So the concept, this is a general overview, and I'm going to delve into details, but basically, RESCHOOL is known for the social tools. In this case, there is like a gamification process through, to captivate and motivate the people in the pilots. And it's aiming to go to 800 prosumers in the 4 different pilots, as well as almost 20,000 people. It's also known RESCHOOL for its technological advancements in flexibility and, in this case, aggregation. I'm going to go now into the consumption pilot. So in this case, there are like many different private and public companies involved in the RESCHOOL project, from Spain to Amsterdam to Athens to Sweden itself. You can see them all. And yeah, I'm going to go into the sites, which are the interesting part. So we have 4 pilots, as I said. One is in Girona. You can see some photos. The other one is in Amsterdam, in the port of Amsterdam. The other one is in Athens. And the last one is in a small town in Stockholm that is called Hammarby. I'm going to explain them later. So in Spain, the main assets are PV, EVs, and batteries that we are actually connecting right now. And the main members are domestic, like the town hall, and in this case, some small companies. So the main objective of the Spanish pilot is basically optimize the energy balancing within the community. So in this case, it's going to be implicit flexibility with demand response strategies with the batteries and the EVs. And in this case, we are also going to simulate how would it be and how much would be the return in a local energy market, in this case with the DSO. In Sweden, we are also going to connect heat pumps, and we are going to also not only simulate, but also play. Play in this case, we're going to go to ancillary services. I think it's the FRN. So that is downward and upward regulation, with in this case the Svenska kraftnät, which is the TSO there. Going forward, we got the Netherlands pilot, which is in Amsterdam, and in this case it's going to be the same: heat pumps, EVs, and batteries. And in this case, there's not going to be a of course, it's going to be a flexible intracommunitary, which is implicit flexibility to maximize returns and savings. And they're going to also go for a local market. They have already they signed up with the DSO there, Alliander, in Amsterdam, so that they can, the users can get revenue out of the demand response strategies. And in Athens, it's only going to be batteries and households mainly, which are going to be mainly intra-community optimization. So in Girona, there are 4 different energy pilots throughout the whole Girona site. There's Amer, we have Rupia, Cornellà de Terri, and Cellera de Terri. All are managed by Kilometer Zero and Bamboo Energy with the help of the UDG, which is the University of Girona. And in this case, there are 2 other providers I will explain later. And PV is 180, installing the 4 different villages with 4 batteries and 4 EV charging points. So as I said, it's going to be mainly implicit and simulations towards, in this case, they're going to the TSO and the DSO. This is a bit of the demo, in this case of the Bamboo platform, which is basically, this is the community members. So this is the list of the community members of one of the pilots, and where you can see the site, the status, how much is the sharing coefficients, because we calculate based on the community consumption itself, so that we can maximize returns. And then, you can also go into the site, and if you go into the site, you will see different toolbox with different KPIs, with real-time telemetry, because at the end we are connected in real time. Then, different KPIs that you can see there, like saving, benefits, consumption, generation, how much is the PV generating in that area, and how much is your coefficient generating. So that's it. And if we delve into the architecture, well, like this is a simple simple schema of how it works for Bamboo in this case. Well, it's basically the connection between the technology that is in between Bamboo platform and the energy management, which we at the end we are connected to each of the assets so that we can manage them in order to maximize returns in savings or benefits for the TSO in this case. So the architecture, I'm not sure if you can really see it because it's pretty, oh well, it's pretty big though. So yeah, we got the energy producers, the consumers, and the administrator in this case. They are connected through a web API. And if you go into details under, well, there's the flexibility platform. And well, you can see that the energy management system is always there inside, so that is connected to the data visualization, which then is the UI. And well, all is stored in the database storage in Google Cloud, and well, it is at the same time connected in real time to the data providers that I'm going to explain later in a better scheme. And at the same time, it's connected to OMIA and Red Eléctrica, which are mainly to know how much is the price in real time of the different tariffs. Also, it depends on the tariff each of the user has. So the optimization is also based on that, and of course the weather data. And well, on the top part, you can see that we are connected also to the MQTT. In this case, is through another protocol, OCCP 1.6 for the EVs, and then well, the gamification service that they have been doing in Girona. So well, this is like another schema. So the members are connected through WEBs, which are smart meters basically that are connected in each of the houses. And then we connect through, well, if there is no WEB, then we connect through DataDis. But mainly are WEBs that are connected to Sentinel Solar, which is another API platform. We connect to this platform, and all comes to Bamboo Energy. So all the inputs are like Sentinel Solar, which all the PV and consumption, and then the MeteoBlue from one side in order to calculate, in this case, mainly photovoltaic data. And then we're connected to the prices, real prices with OMIA and Red Eléctrica, and then, well, inside Bamboo we do all the optimization and bidding. And, well, not forgetting like the EV charging and battery, because it's a double one, because we get insights of the battery on the EVs, and then we charge or discharge, or it depends on the strategy, but it's a double direction. So for the Amsterdam pilot, well, is mainly the same. However, Bamboo is not really the EMS. The EMS is Open Remote, which is an open software platform. And well, in that case, there are like 70 active users providing right now, and they want to go up to 500 households. And well, now they have like 100K installed with batteries and heat pumps that they will install in the future. And as I said before, they have right now signed a contract with the DSO, the local DSO there, in order to provide like revenue for the users. So well, this is actually it's a bit old demo, but it's basically how the open software platform of OpenRoad will work. And then they also have an app to have like the user engagement itself. And then the Stockholm one is through another company. In this case, it's Bricks, Local Live, and Recap, and they want to do everything. Everything, I mean, go to local markets, the DSO, and go to the TSO. And well, they have a different. Well, I will explain later, but they are much huge. Like they have like 280 kilowatt installed. They have 145 kilowatt of battery. They have like 19 heat pumps and 27 charging points, which is enough to go to a TSO in this case, which is 0.1 megawatts. So the energy community in this case, well, you can see there that they are 9 housing associations, and you can see now the map. Well, this is the demo of Local Live. They don't have much demo yet, but this is what they show us so far. But they are working right now on the demonstration. Yeah, the building blocks. Well, as I said, it's like a small town, like a small neighborhood inside of Stockholm in the north part. This is how it looked like everything is connected there. That's it. I'm going to show you now how more or less the data flow works. Well, but it's basically similar to the Girona one in another way. But in this case, since they need an aggregator in order to go to the TSO, in this case it's not clear whether it's going to be Recap or any other. However, like they go through Bricks platform. Bricks platform at the end is like a marketplace for I would say to look for an aggregator to have like the better price. So they will search what is the better like competitive price in order to go to probably tertiary balance services. And then last but not least, we got the Athens pilot, which is a bit smaller. They are like 70 active users and 100K installed. Batteries and heat pumps they also are going to install. So what they're going to do is basically intercommunitary demand response, which is implicit, which built on the metering. And they are going to also do like simulation for the local markets. And this is like their demo because they are like with another provider also, another EMS. And yeah, they're with Collective Energy, that is an open remote. Open remote is the same as Sustenance. They chose that because it's open source. And well, that's it. Yeah, to finalize, like the main technological results are, well, in this case, like RESCHOOL project is like has like many different modules, and it provides different toolboxes to each of the pilots. But at the end, the main area is to focus on forecasting, have a flexibility like platform in order to provide like engagement and community services, and well. In this case, the collaborative community platform, so that is 100% replicable, so that in each pilot, like they have the differences, but at the end, it's all the same, and we try to maximize that part of being like as much as replicable as possible. Then it's 100% open source for 2 of the pilots, and in this case, the EMS of Girona has like the flexibility management platform, so that it can activate and deactivate as well. And well, they have also spent a lot of time on the gamification methods, which is mainly to maximize engagement and bring as much people as possible. And then, it's AI powered also, and the visualization toolbox, which every of the users is going to have its own dashboard, which is with its consumption and how it's contributed to the energy community. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least, before the first discussion portion, will be Lucas from ASM in Poland presenting COMMUNITAS.
Thank you. So, from my side, I will focus more on the social part of the energy communities, and I would like to share some strategies, but as well the best practices so far we implement in the project. I omitted typical slides, so just to have an overview, we can say we have 3 main parts of our project. Typical one, I must say, as similar to other projects. So the social engagement and innovation, the technical and market tools, focusing on the IT and software solution. And the third part, the financial and regulatory aspects. So today, as I said, I will focus on the first part, so the social engagement. Also, nothing new for you and for people that are familiar with the energy community concept. Our key stakeholders are citizens, the authorities, and every people connected with delivering, producing energy and energy market in general. So these are the people we would like to manage strictly during the whole process in COMMUNITAS project, and to keep their level of engagement on a as much higher level as we can. To do that, we are going to follow, as you see on this picture, a kind of a roadmap and a framework for the citizens' participation and engagement. As this is also kind of similar what we have seen today. So the process starts from the raising the awareness in general for the citizens, to make them being more familiar with the energy community concept, how it look like, and to start taking their interest in this energy communities and in general of this concept of community and local community. So then we have the hardest part of this citizen-centered framework. So the design phase, which have many turnovers in order to really be in line with what are the expectations of the citizens, because we take into consideration different cultural background, as well different background of people, so like an educational level, history as well, the regulations, and later on we go to the implementation phase, which is currently running at COMMUNITAS project, and at the end we'll try to exploit the results what we will achieve during this implementation phase. Another thing that we are using now in the COMMUNITAS project is this bottom-up and top-down engagement approach. This is our custom design and our custom methodology that we develop, but it's of course based on some already existing research. So these both approaches are consist of these strands, and related with the services, the engagement, and the community activities, which are a common thing for both approaches. And at the end, they can also meet together at a certain point, making it as a final establishment of the energy community. So also when we were speaking with the stakeholders, so here we consider them as local authorities or municipality in this top-down and bottom-up with the citizens. So there were many similarities from both of them regarding the feedback, and what is most important beside all this package of different nice IT tools and software solutions, that at the beginning they really need to understand what these energy communities are, because it's not obvious. Maybe for us, yes, but for citizens, when we tell them let's establish an energy community, they really do not know what it is, especially when we go to the to the pilots without already any kind of experience with energy communities. Also, we are now working on a value-based proposition. I think this is also a nice tool or methodology, however we called it, to engage stakeholders, to be more as well aware of what is going on. So basically similar to, for example, a business model canvas. We will also conducting now workshops with citizens to produce this value-based proposition, not only from the perspective of the solution delivery and production, but also from their point of view, how we can motivate people not really familiar with the energy communities with the use of this value-based proposition design. And what also we need to remember that we are dealing and working with humans. So we, after this small research, we take into consideration these human values from Sheldon, and taking into consideration all of them, we are following with the activities in the COMMUNITAS, trying to not omit any of these 10 categories, and we feel that if we can focus a bit more on these social aspects of activities in European projects, because maybe sometimes it's too much focus on the software and this technology production, and we sometimes forget that the end users actually will be the real person that we are meeting day by day on the street, and it's really important to remember about that. To fulfill our stakeholder engagement, we have in COMMUNITAS 4 pilot countries, and we made a kind of a special body in each of these pilot sites, and we called it social policy labs or participatory labs. So this is our interactive face-to-face, mainly meetings and workshops with the citizens, with the authorities, energy producers, and all together we discuss many different aspects from this informative community engagement processes to the use of the technology. And what was also done, we have divided also those small, let's say, communities into 3 categories, like learners, listeners, and leaders. So we have like 3 steps of our pilots. So the leaders are those who are already have energy communities, and it works quite well. Then the learners are these ones who are now in the process of establishing energy communities. So they are, for example, already installed some PV farms, and now they are working on connections. And the 3rd category, listeners, are those who have this energy community establishment in a plan in the future, and they just want to hear and to look how it looks like from scratch, and see also the communities that already works well. Together with our face-to-face workshops, we also, as a good practice, recommend some other activities. Here we called it social acceptance campaigns. So this is like a bunch of additional materials videos, webinars, podcasts, a huge pack of materials that we are going to produce to also make it quite easy to read and quite easy form to get this knowledge. We will have 4 such campaigns, and in January we will start with health and well-being, and the second topic on the sustainable finances. The thing that we also found quite well and nice to have is the Replication Academy. These are the activities we can say connected with the exploitation or scalability, however you will say it. We called it the Replication Academy, and this will be the combo of all materials merged into one place, when people can obtain this kind of knowledge, and it will consist the IT tools and all these soft things produced in COMMUNITAS. And just one slide to about the digital things that we are going to produce. So there will be a core platform, and it will be divided into, let's say, 2 sections. So one is the knowledge base, when we will, as I said, move every kind of educational materials being produced throughout the project duration into this nice website, and then we will have the typical software IT tools like demand response, optimization, peer-to-peer, energy, guarantees of origin, and so on. Very similar to each of the projects that presented today. And this is all what I wanted to tell you today. Hope you will also maybe took some best practices from us. So thanks.
All right, so Lucas, if you could stay in the front row, and all the other speakers will come up to the front. So we can't all fit back here, but now at this time, I'd like to ask everyone to ask their questions. If you can maybe sit, and then when you're going to talk, come back here for the camera. So I have plenty of questions, but I think it's better to let you ask yours. It can be for one of the speakers, all of the speakers, but for me, this is the more important part of the workshop, is not the presentations, but the engagement with other colleagues. So who's first? I'll come give you the mic. Nobody. Wow, that's terrible. All right, hopefully my question will inspire you to think of your own questions. So can you 3 come up to the front row, so when you speak, you can come here easily? So my question is, based on my expertise, which is exploitation and market analysis, we've talked about user engagement and technologies, and I've heard some stakeholders mentioned, but I haven't really heard any focus on user. I know, Lucas, you mentioned, humans are very important and the user is very important, but I want to hear from all of the projects in terms of who is the targeted user, and how do you envision the technologies being used by that target user in relation to all of the other stakeholders. So everyone probably already knows an energy community requires the participation of all stakeholders. So who is the targeted user of your project, and how is the technology supposed to be used by them in relation to other stakeholders? I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, please.
So I can, yeah, we'll go there. Okay, so I think in our case, we can mention 2 main target users. The first category is homeowner, flat owner, so the individual that will put a website address in the browser and have an opportunity to enjoy the tools, like this optimization, or the tools that allow you to know when you need to turn on your washing machine or whatever. And for example, to make it closer to the user, in ASM, in our company, we are, for example, attaching and using the eye tracking and face tracking methodologies. So we do an experiment on the user interface and user experience of this software. So despite making like typical co-creation things, we also take into account the experimental phase, and that people have different even biological complication with the health, or like visually impaired people, and making these eye tracking or face tracking experiments can allow us to make those interfaces at least more user-friendly. So this is the aspect, being closer to the target users we have. And the second target users we have, these are the building managers. Yeah, and here we are more focusing on this software part, not really the usability. Okay, so I hope this cover your question.
Can you stand behind the desk so the camera picks you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm going to jump in here, even though I didn't participate, as my colleagues, they make the intervention related to the RESC project. So I'm gonna just go to the specific case of the pilot site, one of the pilot sites that we have in the RESC, which is La Palma, which is a residential energy community in Barcelona. Just before to answer on that, I will just, if I can, just make it 3 minutes to explain what La Palma is about for you to know what's the context. As I'm saying, it's a residential energy community, so it basically it's a very brand new flat block of building. It has 22 dwellings. They have installed two generation plant. One is for self-consumption and the other one is for shared self-consumption. And they have also an energy storage system. And everything is working since one year ago. I mean, the PV installations and also the energy storage system. Now, in the RESC, we are about to install the submetering system to monitor and to disaggregate the loads and to get information on that for the demand response schemes and for all the things that we are planning to do. So for the specific question, how do we make for people, the end users, in this case, are actually the tenants, the people living in the 22 houses. These are the users of the technology, and at the end of the day, this is the key part of or one of very important part in the project, to get everyone on board and to let them know how is it gonna work, what are the advantages they're gonna have to understand, what is going on in the project. So this is the work that we have been doing since very long time ago, even a few years, even before that the RESC project began. And the way that we are approaching for the people to interact with the technology, we believe that this is a very important part as well. And I think the technology can help really a lot in that sense of the engagement of participants. So for example, in our case, just to give a few tips of the way that we are dealing with that, one thing is the co-design process for the technology itself. I mean, of course, there is a part from the technology side that is technology-based, which is when you install a meter or something, there is not much to do on that from the social aspect. But in terms of the user interface and the user experience, there is a lot of work that can be done. So, for example, what we do is, what we have been doing with them is to discuss on what are their interests, what are their needs, and somehow try to customize the platform, the user interface in a way that they get the information that they really want. So I think this is very important, because sometimes technology just comes from the top side, from the engineers and the scientific, and we put there, but the technology maybe is this is not what actually they want. So if there is room for customization, I think this is very important, because people firstly, they get involved on that, they can decide on that. Is part of the be member of an energy community is the fact that you can decide things. If everything comes from the top, it's not an energy community anymore. So this is one part, that the technology can be somehow customized. I think another related to that important point is the fact that to make people understand the technology itself and all what is surrounding the technology, which are all the concept behind, because obviously when you are showing in a mobile app, for example, a graph, a figure where you have, I don't know, like self-consumption, and you have some figures, kilowatt hours and all that, for people it's not that easy sometimes to understand that. So really to use the technology as a tool to generate awareness and to transfer knowledge to the communities, I think this is very important. So yeah, I think in summary, the way that we are trying to treat the technology is a tool for engagement, to generate awareness, and to be implemented through a co-design process as much as possible. This is what we are trying to do.
Thanks. Also, maybe just to add or clarify to the question, I don't know if you want to answer it also, but I think what I'm trying to get at is who you have the intended user, but also you have the provider of the technology. So how do those two parties interact? Is the technology provider the energy community manager? Is the technology itself the energy community manager? The first two answers said that they're targeting the building owner and the occupant. So that we haven't heard about any energy community managers. We haven't heard about DSOs, asset suppliers, all of this. So I'm asking about the value chain. And if we're talking about technologies and users, we can't forget about the other stakeholders, but there's also a technology provider and an intended user. So this is where I'm trying to go. So I don't know if you want to add more or.
Yeah, well, I think, in the whole ecosystem, as you're mentioning, of course, that was the case. I was more focusing on the end users, that obviously is the people that they are going to use the app. But obviously the whole ecosystem, it involves many other participants. We are in, let's say, EU project environment, so which is somehow not fully linked to the reality. So this is something to take into consideration, but it's of course it's a field for doing testing. So in this sense, what I would say is the way to, I think that, well, the key point is maybe pretty obvious, but is the communication among the different stakeholders, because here we have the technology providers in terms of the platform, what is behind the algorithm, all the system, the technology providers in terms of the plugs, the switches, the submetering, we have the installers. So there is a whole ecosystem of technology providers that interact with the user. So for us, that interaction, the way it happens, in order to be smoothly, and in my experience, I would say that the best practices, so in the cases that we have success, is when that ecosystem is really well, let's say, articulated. I think it's a key figure, the coordination. Someone, in the case, for example, of the pilot, that company or that even key people that is able to translate the technology part and the technology interest of the different stakeholders, the installer, because obviously if you need to install the asset, the platform provider, the person or the organization that connect and is able to guarantee the interest of all the different stakeholders. I think this is a key point. I don't know if it was exactly the question that you were. Yeah.
For everyone else. Thank you. Who's next? Karine, anyone? Yeah, do you have a question? Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I will be just quick. I think we have an interesting example in Masterpiece project, because there is one pilot which doesn't have any internet connection, actually. So the way of speak with them is like we have the DSO, we speak with an energy cooperative which is in contact with this pilot, and then within this pilot, the majority of the people is old, at least of 5 young boys. One of these youngs is like the representative of this pilot who speak with the cooperative. But it's not the old people that is in contact with the DSO or the cooperative. It's like, okay, we want to do some things, but as we don't know anything about energy communities, we need one person that represents us. So for us in the masterpiece project, in this case, the end user is actually the residents, but also the cooperative and the DSO, because in our case, the tools, depending on the profile of these persons, they will be able to do different activities depending on what they really need. So in this case, this is the pathway. We have the DSO, the cooperative, but at the end the cooperative is connected with the person who represents this community that actually they don't want to have internet connection. We cannot oblige them to have it. So we have to adapt to them and not to complicate their lifestyle, basically.
No, it's just it's more a comment, but it's also a question, and I think it relates exactly to what you just said. I think it depends on the community, very much on the demographic of the community, and also with regards to the actual energy community as to how voluntary it is, as well as is there actually somebody who is actually employed within the community to deal with, in a way, what you just described there. So I think it's a big question, because when you talk about monitoring and managing and maintaining the technology of a renewable energy community, you also have to manage the community. So I think it's a big thing, and I think it's when we start talking about what I call, what we refer to as technology transfer. Well, there's more than technology transfer. There's also trying to train the community so that they can adapt and take on their own. And again, in reference to what you just mentioned there, you need a leader or someone who can do that communication so that link isn't broken, but it's very much a social communication. So that's just a comment.
Yeah, no, it reminds me a lot of demand response, which for me, energy communities hopefully is an answer to demand response, which wasn't working financially. And so the demand response needs a low voltage aggregator, you know, because otherwise who's going to do it? Anyone else want to speak on that, or is there other questions? Okay, I have to you're forcing me to ask more. Okay, hold on. Please.
Okay, it's related to this personal entity, you know, in between the energy community and the tech provider. I mean, it depends on the energy community, because if they are tech savvy, okay, maybe someone could, you know, take the role. But I think this is an opportunity for companies like ESCOs or similar that could really play the role of doing this. Okay, informing the energy community, take into consideration some technologies or tools that could help, you know, through the sustainability of the energy community, and can provide that knowledge. I think that's also an opportunity for business.
Thanks. So nobody else has questions for everyone? If not, I'll just ask a very generic one. So what are the main, you know, challenges? We're going to go into the regulations and barriers session. So it's a good transition to talk about maybe the main challenge that you faced within the context of technologies and user engagement. So I think we have time for each project to quickly talk about that, the main challenge, or the main lesson learned, or something like this.
I can talk for LocalRES. Well, the main issue we had is that when the project started or the proposal was submitted, is that renewable energy communities, they were just defined by EU regulation, and no member state was ready with those new regulation. So in practice, it was difficult to implement. In the end, there is really an energy community, I think, only in the Austrian pilot. And in the other demonstration sites, it's different type of organization that had to be developed. So that was one of the main challenge. And then again, the issue of social acceptance and trust has been an issue as well to really be able to explain people what this is about, to be able to overcome their initial reluctance. So in demo sites where the municipality is really behind the project and there is a very high trust between the citizens and the municipalities, and it really helps. I think also this goes back to what Lukáš presented about the top-down approach and the bottom-up approach. When you have this top-down approach pushed by the municipality, but the citizens already feel that they are being listened to and engaged, both approaches, they're the good match, and it definitely helps. In other demonstration sites, well, in one other demonstration site, we had a lot of difficulties, and actually we had to more or less drop it because there was just one guy who decided he was against the project and sued the project in court, and everything became more complicated. So yeah, social acceptance is always the biggest challenge, I would say.
And in fact, you mentioned that you have a pilot that's working in, I think, Spain, but it wouldn't work in France or something like that. And we're facing a similar challenge in FEDECOM, which you'll hear about later, which is that, and I think it relates to municipalities too. How do they transpose laws into policies for the local communities? Because there are so many barriers, again, a transition to the barriers section where, you know, something that might work in one country just won't work in another country. And it's so counterintuitive that there are all these blocking points to do something that is really important and has a lot of potential to scale. But again, it involves the cooperation of, you know, everyone. There's I don't know, 700 or, you know, thousands of energy cooperatives, fewer energy communities in place, but you know, it's the critical mass is close, and I don't know, I'm very passionate about energy communities. I really am. I think there's a lot of potential, but let me not waste your time. So who's next? Okay, about your main challenge.
Okay, so well, challenges we had a lot. Like, let me start about the first challenge is like customer engagement. So I'm gonna talk in behalf of the Girona pilot, which is like in the north of like in Spain. And well, the main challenge first was like, well, in order to have an energy community, you need to have like people in the energy community that is interested on working freely, because at the end it's like something that we are offering. We are offering smart meters for free in order to have enough data to create, like in this case, the energy community. So like the first challenge, because I remember like is with the like town hall, like Diputació de Girona, and the main challenge they faced was like the first meeting they were doing, like maybe out of like in the villages, because there are like 4 different pilots, and in one pilot like maybe there's like let's say 2,000 people living. And in the first meeting, they went, like only 2 people went to this meeting in order to know about the energy community. So that was the first challenge, like, hey, people is not really interested. But then, like, from then on, like, with the help of the town hall and everything, like, people are starting to engage. And now, like, at the end, it's like free information for them in order to know the consumption patterns and everything. So that was the first challenge, to overcome that and install smart meters in the houses. Because at the end, the end user, the best, like, to answering the question before, like, the best end user is the user that has, like, PV and battery and prosumer. But, I mean, we need the whole ecosystem itself. So the best is, like, to have an owner with PV and battery, which are usually more engaged because they know more about energy. And, well, apart from that, like, then the second challenge is the technological challenge, because, well, we can install, I don't know, 100 smart meters, but then maybe there's one house that already has a smart meter and they don't want to change it. So we need to know the way in order to integrate that into our API in order to have a similar common platform, dashboard. So that was another technological challenge. But then once everything is done, okay, we got like 40 people. Let's say we have enough kilowatts in order to provide demand response strategies. Let's say we got a battery, charge discharge. We got I don't know, if we got a heat pump. Well, in this case, we are now facing the challenge of connecting EVs from the town hall, which is a local two charging points, local charging points. So the first one is integrating with it, and the second one is like getting the permissions and everything. And then once that is done, everything is ongoing for the implicit flexibility. Next challenge is like the figure of the aggregator. In this case, in Spain, it's not possible. That's why we couldn't do it. But in Sweden, it is like the independent aggregator. So that is a challenge we are facing now in Spain. That I guess in a few years we will overcome it. But at the end, it's like we need an energy retailer in order to be able to do something in order to balance the grid or whatsoever. So that's another challenge for the future. Yeah, basically those are challenges.
Hello. I forgot to tell before that, besides Miguel from Minería Spanish Pilot and Ivan from the La Palma Pilot, we also have Marcus from the Iris Pilot case study. And to connect that with what you said before, in the Iris Pilot case study, which is a university, we had a very major issue to connect to the university's database. So they already had data, but we couldn't get them because some legislation barriers. So even though they had advanced technologies to gather those data in order to use them, we still haven't figured out how to use them yet. In the other hand, in the Spanish pilot case study, we had social issues with the users because it's very difficult to explain to users how to change their consumption patterns, how this will benefit them. Let's say, for example, in the DHWs, in the domestic hot waters across Europe, every country uses the domestic hot water differently. For example, in Greece, mainly we open the domestic hot water like 20 minutes before we want to take a bath. In Spain, they just have it open all the time. And in order to apply some flexibility, you have to close the domestic hot water. But it's very difficult to try to persuade a user to change his patterns, to change his embedded behavior on how to take a shower. Thank you.
All right, I think we'll take the break. You want to add something real quick?
About the challenges that we are addressing in sorry? Okay. Okay. About the challenges that we are addressing in the project, and not only in the project, also in our pilot. First of all, we are creating a platform, a data-driven platform. So the first thing that we need to create the ecosystem is collect the data. And the first challenge that we have is the heterogeneity of the data sources. We have a lot of technologies, a lot of protocols, a lot of standards, different APIs, one coming from the BMS, another coming from the municipality. Also, from another pilot, we don't have enough data, so sometimes it's difficult to create an ecosystem of ICT tools without having enough data. So the first challenge is trying to get a homogeneous way to collect the data and also enable the smart services ecosystem. And another challenge is also about the user engagement. About our pilot is a university, and the point is, it's difficult to engage the students to be sustainable because they are not going to pay the energy. They are going to study. Also, the workers from the university, they are going to work. So sometimes the benefit, they don't understand the benefit because they are not going to save money. So sometimes if you are in another type of energy community, more in residential one, You can, you can encourage them to save money. You can say, okay, if you do this, if you turn on your HVAC, you can save this amount of money. But sometimes in a public institution like the university, it's not easy to encourage the student that they are the building occupants of any community.
Yeah, I mean, for me, demand response wasn't working because you're saving money, asking people to change behavior. But the reason why I'm excited about energy communities is because it's ownership. I own this asset. I don't want to save a few pennies. I want to own something, you know? And I want to let my community members help me build on my investment without doing much, you know? I think that's the critical mass we're looking for. Anyway, thank you. Enjoy your coffee, and we're back in 30 minutes.